Alright, one thing to note before we get started is the rotation of the tire. Usually there's a marker on these things, maybe a little diamond. Okay, there's one here and it's pointing in that direction. So make sure that you have the correct rotation, and what I do is I make sure I have the correct rotation of my wheel so that I line the two up. So I already checked it out. That's the rotation of the wheel, and then this is the rotation of the tire. So that's this way. Okay, so those are matched up, and let's get to the hard part. Okay, so what you want to do is spray this little guy down. This is again the 10% grease lightning, 90% water. Again, that's a nice and cheap way to make a lubricant cleaner. And that's what I'm going to do, is put the tire inside here. You know, this part is usually never too difficult doing this. So, all right, I'm going to wrestle with this, and then I'll come back and we'll show you how to put the tube in and the tire lock. All right, you've seen these before. These are my cheap little clamps, and again, this is the idea. When you're putting this new tire on, it's going to be nice and tight. You want to get as much, the tire as close down into that little valley, this little valley here, as possible, because that, whatever I push in here gives me the room over here. So, so that's what I'm doing right now. Alright, so again, these clamps are here, and I'm just rotating the tire around. It really goes in pretty easily. Doesn't always do that. So now I can put in my tube, and I need to put in the wheel lock first. And that's something usually you have to wrestle with. Alright, I'm going to wrestle with the tire lock, and sometimes these are just a pain to get in. Maybe somebody has an easier way, but I put a little fishing line on here, and what I'm going to do is feed that through, and then I'm going to pull it through, and we'll see how that works. So we'll let you know here in a second. Alright, I decided that the fishing wire wasn't going to work, so I decided to, the side that's inside here, or the part of the tire that's inside, that I instead of putting the wheel lock in from that side, I went over here, and then I'm just going to use a tire iron and try and scoot it over the wheel lock, and then somewhere in the process this will probably work. I think it will. Whoops! I just popped it out again. All right, I figured out that the fishing wire wasn't going to work. So I'm going to go in this way, which I already tried it out, and I think it's going to work a little bit better. And it's pretty normal. At least I seem to struggle with these things. Alright, so that's on, and then I just have to... Alright, here's where I was. I got the wheel lock in, and now I can put the tube in. You know, I tried a couple of other things. I think I got it in there pretty easily that way. So put the nut on there so it doesn't come off again. I think this is my fourth tire on a dirt bike, and I got to tell you the truth, the first one I just completely gave up. So have no fear. I mean, if you are struggling, just continue to struggle, pick up tips where you can, and I'm going to put this tube in now. Alright, we got a brand new tube, and you're wondering where the baby powder comes in, and this is where it comes in. You really can't use too much of this. This is acts as a dry lubricant and decreases the chances of this kinking inside. And with the kinks inside, that could lead to a rupture later on. So don't be afraid. Put plenty of it on both sides. Worst case is you'll smell pretty good. Anyway, I'm going to put this in, and then you just feed it in. It's pretty easy to do. All right, that tube's in partially. Anyway, what I'd like to do is just put a little bit of air in it, just before I put it inside all the way. It's going to help me make sure that I'm not twisting this thing on the way in. So just a little bit of air. You don't want a lot of air because you run the risk of pinching that tube on the way in when you're bringing the tire in inside. So so never too much air. It's better to have nearly flat for this. All right, here we are. We've got the wheel lock in place. I've got the nut on there, and I have obviously the tube in. You see here, this nut, and everything's where it should be right now. All right, now this is a little trickier part. You got to figure out where to begin, because depending on where you begin, may make it more difficult when you're finishing it up here. And here's what I mean. You have a little wheel lock here, which takes up some space inside. So that's probably where you want to end up. So what I suggest is start off where your tube valve is. Okay, where the valve is itself. So start there and end up over here, because you can't move your tire. You can't get any space. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, so that's where I'm going to start. All right. Well, this is what I mean by start. I've got the clamp on here. Okay, and that's gonna help me get this tire started inside. Gotta be really careful not to puncture your tube, and that's happened on a couple of tires, and happens very often. So be really careful at this point. And now I should be using a little bit of lubricant. Again, this is where you want to be really careful. Alright, looks like things are going pretty smooth here. Now, it looks like things are going smooth, but that can always change. But, you know, I'm doing everything that just really the reverse order. Probably the worst thing that can happen, and it does, is a pinched tube. But as long as you don't have too much air in this thing, it shouldn't happen. You know, I can see the tube, but this is the part where it gets a little tighter, and I might have to bring out the mallet, pound on it, just get this tire as close to this rim as possible. The little, there's a name for it, I don't know what it is, but this little valley, I'll call it a valley, but the pros have a name for it, but that's what you do. You use your clamps, and if you have your clamps in place, this tire is going to go on like cake. So catch me at the end here. Alright, I got this tire on, and I really didn't have to struggle too much with it, because I think I was trying to show you the principles here of getting the tire down below the bead, and as you go around you can see what I did. And I got the tire on. This wheel lock is giving me a good sign that it's free right now, and I'm gonna tighten that sucker up. But point is, if I can do it, you can do it. These clamps are cheap. Take some patience. If you don't want to save any money, take it to the tire shop. But hey, I like saving money. That's what it's all about. This is dirt biking on the cheap. Alright, so there I have it. A brand new tire. Brand new tire. And with the exception of a bent rim, which I didn't do, I promise you that, this is ready to go. And I've seen enough of these videos, tutorials, and I know you guys love to hear the dirt bikes run, so I'm going to fire this thing up, and you get to hear what this thing sounds like. Alright, let's see if this thing fires up. Usually starts on the first or second kick.